Good afternoon. Friends, colleagues, it is indeed a great pleasure to come back. I have been working with Professor Kadara from 2006 maybe or 7 to develop this nomination. And it was a long journey, which is still continuing. Good to see it's continuing, which is one of our expectations. And I also, it's nice to see you, President World Archaeological Congress, Professor Mizuguchi. I was once the vice president before your tenure started in the World Archaeological Congress, where we have done a lot of things. Now, Simon, what did you do? I feel very thin what I have to say. Because, for good reasons, what you said is correct. I have gone on what we call reactive monitoring missions, about 30 or 40 of them all over the world, which happens at the post-inscription stage. Yes, you run for inscription, and once you've done that, you stop there. There are a lot more to be done. In developing Mickey must be remembered, even in developing the management plan, we suggest that keep a space for research strategy to be done and in the future. So I haven't seen much of those things in any of those things. So you are absolutely right. And what you just proposed, I would even take as a sort of model when I'm visiting sites next time, where you propose to raise the profile of this World Heritage Site, bringing the international community. Thank you for that, and thank you for continuing research. This is fantastic. This is very important. Of course, I'm not a researcher or academic. My specialty is something different. I had worked on a lot of things on religious heritage, and this is why I think Miki asked someone from UNESCO. They recommended me to this project. But this is something very important. Thank you for that. I wanted to say a few things. Yes. My talk will be sort of focusing more on established religions, not necessarily, I don't know how you want to look at them, what Professor Mizuguchi was saying, rituals, I don't know whether you want to separate them or they are part of even the established religions. Another thing was that I know you are working on East Asia, although you've gone to UK and so on. So my presentation is from South Asia. Of course, your neighbor, I don't know whether you want to draw that line. And the other thing is, what in terms of research and in terms of understanding, what we are looking in the World Heritage context is, we all societies do different things. Maritime is something common to all cultures. All cultures have experience, and then we are looking at outstanding responses to go into the World Heritage. I have said this at the beginning. So what you have is an outstanding response to those activities. It's on the other hand, it's always good to compare and contrast what is happening with other things, like what he's suggesting to raise the profile of this site. This is fantastic and very good. So I will try to say something what happened in that part of the world, South Asia, very close. I did not even look at some of the relationships that we have had between Sri Lanka and Japan. Obviously, there must be a lot of things to do, but I did not look at, but I have highlighted what happened in that little island. That's basically to draw parallels that things are happening. So there are different responses to different issues in different contexts. So that my theme is from a maritime hub to a cultural hub, because it's so much, it's unlike here, it's a complete transformation of a little island with the activities of maritime trade or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So, of course, as any other country, before the arrival of foreign influences, religious landscape of Sri Lanka was characterized by indigenous practices, including animism, ancestor worship, and tree worship, and so on. As foreign visitors arrived, they brought their own belief systems, which gradually merged with local customs, creating dynamic and evolving environment. Certain influences, such as the arrival of Buddhism as far back as 3rd century BC or CE, profoundly transformed the country, giving it a completely new civilization. So my paper explored the influence of maritime travel on the development and transformation of rituals and religious practices. As I said, these are mostly established religions, if you want to call them, and these activities played a crucial role in shaping Sri Lanka's ritualistic landscape and belief systems, as well as utilization of local traditions and sacred places to seek safety, of course, and blessings for maritime movements as well. So this is something that was expected. I will talk a little bit about foreign influences in this little island: Buddhism, Hinduism, Chinese, Arabic, colonial, and so on, and how they are diffused within the region, and some case studies to highlight, and then few remarks. You know where Sri Lanka is. It's this little island, and its strategic location at the crossroads of major sea routes made it an essential stopover for ancient seafarers. From as early as 3rd century BC, the island was frequented by Indian travelers, Chinese navigators, Arab merchants, and later European colonizers. These visitors engaged in commerce and took part in cultural and religious exchanges, leaving lasting marks on the island. There were a number of reasons for that. Island with many ports of call, which evolved from time to time. Southernmost point of mainland of Asia, almost on the equator, where navigational winds and monsoons affect change directions, and it was halfway between, more or less halfway between ancient empires, Rome and Peking. So these are reasons why it was such an important hub. You can see these pictures. And in the map of Ptolemy, there may be various arguments on this, what was the date of it and so on. But you can see this, the green dot, the size of Sri Lanka. In fact, I just saw in your book also the same map showing this Sri Lanka is far bigger than even India, because I think it was the location, the importance of, because these maps were prepared with the data from the travelers. This is an inscription from 1st, 2nd century AD in Sri Lanka, in a cave, which shows a sort of, we call it a ship. And this cave was donated by a mariner, so maybe he wanted to inscribe this also. There are 68 names recorded for the country because of this reason. Different people give them their name and it's recorded in their thing. So there were fascinating landmarks left. This port with triple moats, northern part of Sri Lanka is still being excavated, where we believe, and in fact there are some references, where people came from east and west and exchanged goods and then went back, rather than instead of going throughout. Yeah, this is the archaeological map of that. And you find all you name any object from any part of the world, they are found in Sri Lanka. Just to take away a little bit, this is Sigiriya, this crazy king built his palace on top of this rock, because he killed his father and he was a bit worried to live in an unsafe place because his brother was behind him, and he built this fabulous palace complex with fascinating water gardens in the 5th century. In addition, he also painted some of these areas with this sort of. Now, what I want to tell you is that some evidence of this international maritime trade. Now, from about the 6th century AD, this place was visited by the tourists. Tourists means people from different parts of the country. And they looked at the beauty of these ladies, and they wrote a poem in this very specially made wall. We call it a mirror wall. We even believe maybe there were professional poem writers, but there are about 1,000 odd poems, mostly about the beauty of these ladies, and 6th to 8th century life. And one of them talk about this, a beautiful lady wearing a dress made of Chinese silk. So that evidence shows that how this maritime trade has influenced in addition to what I was saying. Now, the arrival of Buddhism. You all know that in the 3rd century BC, according to chronicles and legends and so on, the Emperor Asoka sent the message of the Buddha to Sri Lanka through a monk who was his own son. This introduced a variety of new rituals and practices, you all know, associated with Buddhism, which stood stark contrast to the existing traditions. This event marked the formal introduction of Theravada Buddhism, which is still preserved, one of the most orthodox forms of Buddhism to the island, a tradition that continues to thrive today. The spread of these practices led to the transformation across the country. It spread all over very fast, including the establishment of magnificent monastic traditions and architectural marvelous achievements. The arrival of Buddhism also signaled the beginning of broader religious exchange via maritime routes. Indeed, two notable follow-up examples are worth mentioning. I will give you two examples. By the way, yes, this king met the monk who had come to Sri Lanka when he was on deer hunting. So he stopped that and he became a Buddhist and so on. This site has become a sacred place since then, still being worshipped. There are about 2 million people gathered in the day of full moon day of June, which is supposed to be the day Buddhism was arrival. So it completely transformed the country. And the monastic complexes. This city, Anuradhapura, which was the capital at that time, existed from 6th century BC to about the 12th century AD or CE, when it was shifted to a different location. So some of these magnificent stupas were built, and perhaps the tallest or largest brick-made structure in the ancient world, going up to 400 feet. And someone has even compared this, the heights of the ancient buildings. That's not. This, the Chinese monk who visited the country to look for Buddhist scriptures has said that there were about 5,000 Buddhist monks in this one monastery. So it's definitely, if you go there, you can see the ruins that could have accommodated that much of monks. And that led to the creation of perhaps the first monastic city, the city center and rings of monasteries, and nurtured by agricultural system of tanks, we call it wapi, the reservoirs, human-made, not. The second change that happened was the arrival of the sacred Bodhi tree, again in the same 3rd century BC. This is a modern painting, but depicting the arrival of the sacred Bodhi tree. Apparently, legend says the king went closer to the ship and welcomed it. Now, this came as a sapling from the main Bodhi tree, which was in Bodh Gaya, under which Buddha enlightened. Interestingly, So then it's one of the longest recorded historical trees, and it is one of the most important, most sacred places. And in the 18th century, the one in Budga was destroyed, and a sapling from here went back to India. So what India now has is a sapling from this one. So these are some of the implications. And it's the most sacred tree and sacred places of the who become the top politician, the president of the country, first visit is to this place. And this Anuradhapura is a World Heritage Site, and this sacred tree is one of those key attributes referred to in the nomination. The other event was the arrival of the sacred tooth relic of the Lord Buddha. The relics were distributed after in different parts of India. Apparently, the tooth relic was with a rural local ruler in one part of the part of India, and perhaps for security or purposes, he decided to send it to Sri Lanka in the 4th century AD. You can see how this lady has hidden the tooth relic for safety in her hair, and that's why they have put it there. That's what the legend says. Anyway, since then, king, the ruler, built a special building to house that. It's not just in Anuradhapura, the capital of the country shifted from place to place. Wherever the ruler built his palace, there is one religious building, which is the Temple of the Tooth Relic. The last one built in Kandy before the British capture the whole country is still there, which is also a World Heritage Site for your information. Yeah, this was, in fact, this was targeted by the terrorists in 1998 and destroyed, bombed it. So this is, apparently the tooth relic is in this casket inside, and together they brought in large number of rituals. Even here, there are daily rituals. You prepare a meal with 32 dishes every day and offer to the Lord Buddha. And annual pageant is one of the most fascinating ones. Can you show that a little bit?
Welcome to a celebration of an age-old tradition, a commemoration of the gods and the blessings they bestow upon this ancient island, paying homage to the sacred tooth relic of the Lord Buddha in one of the oldest and grandest of all festivals across the Buddhist world, the Kandy Asala Perahara. This noble procession that began over 1700 years ago and remains to this day a unique symbol of Sri Lanka. Traditional dancers, drummers, bright lights, fire breathers, jugglers, musicians, acrobats, color and magnificence guide generations of faithful through the tides of time. As Sri Lanka's most historic cultural event of the year takes place once again this August under health guidelines, we're inviting you to join the official live stream and witness living history and dazzling culture unfold in the glorious citadel of Kandy from your homes across the globe.
Thank you. So now the point was that the Bodhi tree came as a single unit, but the Bodhi tree tradition became a feature in all Buddhist monasteries. There are at least many thousands of monasteries built from that 3rd century onwards and up to now. So the Bodhi tree becomes a feature in that. And worshipping the Bodhi tree is one of the most known features. And then similarly, these sort of processions started in not only here. Now this event has seen again by Fahian, the 5th century Buddhist monk went from China. It's described, so it's a continuation of that tradition. Of course, things would have changed, but so that's what changed with the arrival of Buddhism and its complete transformation of the country with all sorts of new rituals. And the Hindu pilgrims and started, of course, there were exchanges of people, and coming from that, they brought their own religious buildings and located in different places. In addition, there were the Arabs who also brought some Muslims, brought in their architectural features, not as sophisticated as these, but this is one of the locations where they built their mosque, and those practices were also integrated into the local traditions. Arab and Muslim influences, and these are some of the locations of those. And there were other visitors like Marco Polo, Vasco da Gama, and all these things. And the one who loved Sri Lanka most was Sheng Ho, who visited 4 times according to descriptions. And you know about him and this sort of his voyages as recorded. And what is fascinating is this stone inscription he took from Nanjing. It was crafted in Nanjing, and it has 3 languages. The Chinese, it's what you see is the inscription as it is today. It's in the National Museum. In Nanjing, they have taken a replica and put the scripts over there. Now, the scripts are in Chinese, Tamil language, and Persian language. The Chinese praises Buddha and includes gifts to the Buddha made by the Chinese emperor through his envoys. So he was taking all those things, and Tamil praises, the script in Tamil praises God, maybe a local god of Shiva, form of Shiva, and Persian, maybe Allah, they refers to Islamic saint. So he, because this place, still a sacred place, sacred mountain, people visited from the 1st century BC, there are references to it, believed to be having a footprint of the Lord Buddha. But then other religions, religious faiths also believe that they are sacred to them. So Sheng Ho brought this with the intention of offering these many things. I think, yeah, this is the list of offerings probably he brought to go on pilgrimage to this place. And so unfortunately, he was unable to go. He had a fight with the local ruler, and he couldn't go, and he left the inscription there. And his offerings were given to another temple that was in the southern part of Sangha. These are very interesting stories. And so that then became the colonial period. The Portuguese were the first to come in the 16th century CE. Their intention definitely was to propagate Christianity. So they even went to the extent of destroying Buddhist temples. And then came the Dutch. Dutch had no intention of propagating the religion, although they brought in their reformed churches, and churches were built. And then the British, by that time, the Christianity was promoted and established. So this is the Dutch period, Colombo, with all this. This is a church built by the Dutch in Colombo, and there were many changes to architectural fabric of the country. There are about 35 of these fortifications right around the country, because it was not easy for them to survive, because there was a pressure. There was the king with his Buddhist philosophy and whatever it is, and promoting that only the Portuguese were only settled down along the maritime provinces. Dutch were also only maritime provinces. They couldn't capture the king until the 1815. The British managed to do that. So this is Gold Fort with its church. It's again another World Heritage Site, but the important point is that the religion was already established. Okay, and the British, by that time, Christianity was established, and they further promoted and propagated. So much so they built churches very close to the old heritage places. So now let me further highlight few examples from Sri Lanka, which I already mentioned. One is this Adam's Peak. It's called Adam's Peak. It's Sri Pada, and it's, as I said, believed as a sacred place by both Hindus and Christians and Buddhists and so on. There are references to its being visited, but most important point from our perspective is that this is the mountain where all the rivers start in the country. And this place was protected because it was considered sacred. So as a result, the water courses, water streams are protected, because this is still one of the most sacred places. Now it's part of the World Heritage Site. There is annual pilgrimage. That is when they experience the cold weather in the country once a year. That's view. That's where all these your favorite tea plantations are coming along those. And yeah, another important place is this Kattaragama shrine, a sort of local god, which is worshipped. Again, there are many rituals, annual events, and so on and so forth. Worshipped by all religious faiths. There are Muslims, there are Hindus, there are Buddhists that go and worship this place. So it's a interesting phenomenon. And then there is this Hindu temple, which was mainly established for the fishing community in in this, you can see the location of that in there. So this is again lots of rituals and this and that. So this was particularly Buddhism was not stayed there in Sri Lanka. There are references to it being introduced to countries like Thailand, Burma. An interesting point is that in Sri Lanka, although with all those fascinating religious places and so on, as a religion, it went down in the 15th, 16th century. They couldn't even find a monk who can do the higher ordination of the Buddhist monks. So they had to bring Buddhist monks from Thailand and establish the sect again, because after Anuradhapura period, the things began to collapse from time to time. The capital city shifted to many places. And that's when the Dutch people gave their ships to bring the Buddhist monks back from Thailand to Sri Lanka. Yeah, in fact, there are many records on that. This painting is from a temple in Thailand, which is representing the Adam's Peak or Sripada or that thing I showed you. So that's what I'm going to say, and we'll stop there. The introduction and transformation of rituals in Sri Lanka as a result of maritime travel demonstrate the dynamic nature of the cultural and religious exchanges. The adaptation and syncretism observed in these practices highlight the island's position as a crossroad of diverse beliefs and traditions. The shared ritualistic practices across different faiths reflect a broader cultural pluralism shaped by centuries of interactions between local communities and foreign travelers. So as a result, that maritime hub transformed to a cultural hub. So that's my presentation. That's what I can share with you. Probably, I don't know how researchers can look at some of the things that happen in different parts of the world. As I said, we are looking at every society, every region had all these things, and then certain things are outstanding, and that's why they go into the World Heritage List. With that, I will stop. Thank you.